the price goes up. Is that right? And when the price goes up, the quantity demanded shrinks and the quantity supplied increases so that the gap can be erased. We just talked this last week, right? But now we cannot do that because the price is fixed. It is frozen to the level. So the pressure cannot be released. And there is always a shortage in this case. Okay? There is a shortage, excess demand. Okay, then what would happen to the market? What would happen to the market? This is the price ceiling. This many producers would like to sell, and this is the consumers would like to buy. So at this price ceiling is a excess demand here. So of course we know these sellers would sell their product here, right? And these sellers will exit the market. They will quit. They would not sell anything to the market, right? But who are the lucky ones can obtain the items? Do you think they have the chance to buy the items? They are willing to, and they are qualified to at this price, right? You don't know who are the ones with higher values or higher willingness, since all of them whose willingness is higher than P, the price ceiling, right? So you don't know who will be the lucky ones bought the quantity here. Is that right? Of course, we may make an assumption that, oh, for these consumers with the highest willingness to pay would be the ones obtain the items. Okay, they would be the lucky ones. Okay, let's make this assumption. So what would be the consumer surplus? The consumer surplus would be this. This is the value they have, and this is what they have to pay, right? This is the money they have to pay because the price is set at P upper bar, right? So this part would be the consumer surplus. And this is received, this is the revenue by the sellers and the cost. So deduce the cost, and then we have the triangle here, which is producer surplus. So the social welfare or the total surplus would be this part. As compared with the case that if the government doesn't intervene, the market doesn't make a policy of the price ceiling. If there is no price limit, then the equilibrium would be here, and the social welfare would be this large, right? So we have a there were loss by this triangle. And what I would say this there were loss would be the smallest. The least there were loss. And that is because we made an assumption that they are the lucky ones. If the lucky ones are these people, what will happen? If the lucky ones are these people who just obtain the items, then the value they have would be this much, right? And the expenditure, they have to pay this. This would be the expenditure. So the consumer surplus would shrink from this much to this small, right? So the consumer surplus will shrink. And their loss would increase. So do you know what I'm talking about? These many people are qualified. They are willing to and able to buy at this price, right? All of them are qualified to get the items. And only these people, these sellers, are willing to sell in the market. So there is a gap. There is a gap. It's a over demand, excess demand. It's a shortage. So how come you may guarantee, you may make sure that they are the lucky ones? They are not necessary to be the lucky ones, right? They're probably in the other extreme. They are the lucky ones. They are willing to and able to and qualified to buy at this price, right? So no one can guarantee it is these people rather than this one. So the best scenario, the best case would be they got the items so that they may have the largest welfare or the largest surplus, the biggest value, the highest value. Their value would be the lowest, right? So you know the issue here. Who have the privilege to obtain the item is the key point, is the key issue. So, conventionally, in most textbooks, talking about the price ceiling would tell us that, oh, this would be there were loss of this kind of policy. However, you have to remember that the there were loss here is under an assumption that for people with the highest willingness to pay are the lucky ones obtain the items. But it is not always the case. We may still have chance to have these people obtain the items. Then their loss would increase by a lot, right? So do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, in this case, Okay, in this case, we have consumers with values from 130, 120, 110, 100, 90, 80, and so on. And we have producers with costs 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. Without any intervention, the market price would be 70, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied at the price 70. Okay? Now, the kind government say that, all right, the price cannot go above than 40. So now, it's not only 7 consumers or 7 buyers willing to pay 40s to get the item. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 buyers saying, oh, I'm willing to buy it. Please give it to me, right? Only 4 of sellers are willing to sell. And for these sellers, okay, 40 is too low. If I sell at 40, I will lose money. So I'm not willing to do that. 10 exceeds 4, which we have 6 shortage, right? Shortage of 6 items. Now, we may make sure that it must be these 4 sellers selling the item to the market. They are qualified and willing to do that, right? And there are 10 buyers qualified and willing and able to buy at 40. How come you can make sure that it's this 1, 2, 3, 4, this 4 people got the item? You cannot make sure, right? All of them, all of these 10 people have a chance to get the item. It depends whether you want to be in a queue, in a line, waiting to buy it. So they may not the first 4, right? Or randomly decided. Or these 4 sellers will say, oh, you're too ugly, you're too fat, you're something, I don't like you. So I just like to sell these items to say, this one, this one, this one, and this one. It may be the case like this, right? Get it? So the analysis here is, it is an optimistic one. It's the best case here. It can be worse than this. Okay? Let's take a break. Now it's 10:51, 11:05.